Just take a look at this beautiful Hanok with GV80 sitting right next to it. Welcome to Cars in Korea. I introduce newly released Genesis, Hyundai, and Kia cars. And the car I have behind me today is Genesis GV80. And for those of you guys that's been following my channel for a long time, you guys know what this car is about. This car means pretty much everything that I am today, that Cars in Korea is today. I started off with the GV80, reviewing the Genesis, Hyundai, and Kia cars. And I actually brought the car over here in Hanok, that is the traditional Korean village. I'm here back again. It took me about 2 years for me to come back with this Genesis GV80, but this time it's not the regular ones that we are familiar with, but it gets a full update with just the 2 seats on the back. So that being said, this Genesis GV80 is a 6-seater car, and I have the same exact car right on the background. However, that one is the model before this one, and I'll take you to a inside out, a detailed review of this Genesis GV80 6-seater. I got this car in fully loaded option, with the car being 3.5 turbo model and with a fancy copper colored calipers. That's only exclusively for Genesis 3.5 turbo model, and that's of course with the 2022 model. There are very subtle change when it comes to the exterior. You get the same wheel, but it's the good old silver-ish kind of 4-pot calipers. So still the same Michelin tire, but I just gotta love that copper color. In 2022 models, you now can upgrade your calipers to this monoblock 4-piston, and which was only available for the 3.5 turbo model previously. But regardless of the engine trim that you get with the 2022 model, you can now upgrade your calipers to 4-piston monoblocks. I wouldn't necessarily say that this provides better braking than the previous ones. However, what it does for sure, for certain, is that it provides more linear feedback when it comes to braking performance. And as we know, Genesis GV80 is the first SUV from the Genesis brand. The designer, not just specifically for Genesis GV80, but just the Genesis brand as a whole. The outer structures of the wood at the end of the arch right there, it just simply doesn't get any more Korean than this. And that's why, as I did 2 years ago, I brought the Genesis GV80 to here in Hanok Village. And check this out, the soft closing. Ooh, fancy. And it goes the same for the second row seats or doors as well. Let me show you the engine bay. And just look at this bold line. A giant character line that's connected all the way to the back of the car. And for your information, if you want to know everything about GV80 in detail, go check out the video right here, because I've gone through it extensively. This is the 3.5 twin turbo model that I have before you, written right there, twin turbo. It's a twin, so you gotta have it 2 times. So nothing surprising or nothing too special about it, because we've seen it here and there already. But just look at this, how and where the suspension mount is sitting, instead of a conventional ones where they usually sit right here. GV80 is even sacrificing the space into the engine bay here, but what this allows, having this, suspension mount strut diagonally and towards the engine bay, left and right, of course, is that it's going to provide more agile movement, whereas the strut mount sitting somewhere right here. And also with the ELSD on the back, that's been used on the Veloster N as well. Wet dual clutch transmission is also embedded in this Genesis GV80 that enables, with the very smart TCU, top of the line, top-notch TCU that's perfectly fit for the Genesis GV80. It allows a very agile movement around the turns and corners. Look at what Genesis has gone through with finishing up the hoses and lines with extra bracing to increase the rigidity and the support and the direct feedback from the chassis to, of course, the driver feedback through the steering wheel. And this car being a giant car, I can't push it down with one single hand. I guess I just gotta drop it. With that 4-piston monoblock brake system, it also provides and stops the car where and how you want it to be. And of course, this is nearly a 2.2 ton. I think it sits somewhere between with the Genesis EG80 because that car is also super heavy, the car being full EV car. However, the line of the sight for Genesis GV80 of course sits much higher, and I did it intentionally. But if you boost up the seat, you nearly have about your eye level to that of like a bus driver. Just look at that. I have bumped it up intentionally because I do want to get that feeling of driving big car, a giant SUV, and it feels really great, comfortable driving around in city roads, because there is nothing much more bothering than having your sight blocked by giant cars in front of you. The signatory quad lights, even with the quad lamps within, the bold character line from the profile that runs all the way to the back also is finished with this quad taillight. I can't believe that it's already been 2 years since this car rolled out. There are families of Genesis: G90, GV80, GV70, GV60, G70, G80, EG80. So I come across those cars a lot on streets lately. Genesis dominating when you see them on the public streets. Even if you're not a car person, you'll be able to tell that they are from the same family with these quad lights. I absolutely love the color combination that Genesis is coming up with lately. They might look almost nearly identical from the outside, like I've said. Again, shown nearly no change on the exterior with the previous model. So that is the variable flap that will open and close accordingly to the condition of the car. And here we are outside, and again, this is not necessarily new on 2022 Genesis GV60, but and just imagine that we're in a tight parking space, or you know, whenever you want to remote control your car and I want to send the car all the way to the back for the best angle right here. I love these autumn leaves, by the way. Yeah, so it would just go on and on until I ask it to stop, or perhaps maybe when it detects some kind of an obstacle, and probably it was scared of that big tree right there. So just like that, you can have and you can remote control your car, and now it's turned off and parked just like that. As I've gone through earlier on the videos, there's nothing much have changed on the exterior except for that nice little bronze caliper, limited to this 3.5 turbo model. But unlike the previous GV80s, you can now have this giant calipers, 4-piston calipers on any trims of your choice. And just take a moment to appreciate this beautiful Mother Nature. I know this leaf crisp sound might be bothering a little too much, but hopefully it turns out okay. I absolutely love this fall season. Let's get into the second row seat, what this 6-seater Genesis GV80 is all about. All right, let's get in. This is now the second row seat. Don't be fooled because it's a 2-seater, but it is just like one of those giant family SUV or family van kind of a layout. So you get this nice, beautiful, gigantic armrest on the second row seat as well. It even has dials where you can control everything from behind, and you will have a monitor of your own. And even this storage area is on the second row seat as well. Beautiful Napa leather quilted seats, just like it is on the front. And of course, it's much more comfortable than a regular second row seats. You have automated recline. You can slide back and forth. And my trunk is full of my luggage, but just look at this. Look how laid back I am. See that? So it has the soft closing on the second row seat as well. And there's been an upgrade from the soft closing from the first generation. Watch. So it would close on 2 different levels, whereas the previous model, it just does soft close and shut down on 1 single level. Now it's been divided into 2 steps for extra safety precautions. Closes once and twice. And of course goes the same for the first row seats as well. Once, twice. And let's fire up this car, because there's only so much you can do with the car shut off. I just figured. Volume control right here, and also this dial pad to go through with the infotainment system up there. And just watch how responsive it is. And also the dials for the gear selector. Press the brakes for the reverse, neutral, reverse, drive, and push of a button for the parking. For the auto hold feature, the parking camera, rear cams all around, and you can turn off on the parking assist alarm. And this is to keep and maintain the downhill speed when you're going down a super slope and slanted angle. And push down and you will see the terrain light turning up. And now when you turn around the dials, it will be snow, mud, and sand. You see the shades, the blind, and it's actually automated. So press it down once, the blinds will come up, come down, and the windows. I like the touch that at the end it goes like kind of slows down at the end, you know, adding on to that luxurious feeling to it. You know, pull it up once for the windows, and when it's closed, pull it up again for the blind. And you can also control that from the driver's seat as well. You can put this down to have the car, the second row seat, in a relaxed mode. So let me show it to you sitting down. And let's go into that relax. And it's probably because it detected the luggage on the back, so it stopped on its own. So it has no problem whatsoever for the second row passengers to be laid back like this and see through the glass, see what the nature's got to offer you. It's beautiful. And it's really relaxing too. You can control all this from the second row seat. You play around with this and you now have the camera view from the second row seat as well. And speaking of the smartphones, it supports the 220 volts right here, like so. I use a lot of electronic stuff when filming and shooting cars, so I always have these handy and have extra, you know, batteries, charging my GoPros and all. But I did not have to do that at all in this GV80, because just look at that, it has 220 volts, it's got the USB ports here, and it's of course fully occupied with my cables. But there's also USB outlets on the first row seat as well, and also the phone, there is wireless charging pad on the first row seat as well. So just like what many of the cars are currently pursuing, the vehicles and cars is not just about something that takes you from a point A to B. No, the manufacturers, or Hyundai and Genesis and Kia, I would say, is really focusing a lot about the experience within the car. After your home and work, you spend the most of the time in vehicles, cars, driving, even if you're not driving, just being in one to get to a point A to B. It's more of a living room experience kind of thing that they wanted to bring out with Ioniq 5. The whole theme of the interior was the living room, starting with the seats. You know, they have the zero gravity relaxation seats, but you know, this Genesis being the premium, you can see the luxuriousness everywhere, starting with just the materials that's being used and also the color and the theme, the tone. Just gotta love. Look at this, just gotta love the suede. It's finished all around the ceilings and everything, and even the lighting here, G matrix pattern lighting right here, the monitors both left and right, and this is really sturdy and firm, so not many people know about this, I think, but you can actually tilt this thing. I had the same experience with the airplanes too. I never thought they move. Most of the things stay the same, except that this has been turned into a two-seater now, and Genesis has said it already, but the next ones we'll be seeing will be full EV. This perhaps might be the very last internal combustion engine Genesis GV80 that we get to see. Just living the moment, living the era. Just look at that. So this is what you get to enjoy in this big gigantic GV80 second row seat, six-seater, just like that. Just watching these autumn leaves falling down. This may be the last generation of internal combustion engine, the luxurious vehicle, at least from Genesis. This car is more about being in the seat, enjoying the driving experience, not necessarily about having fun, but this car can also perform as well. And let me show it to you on my way to my second point, and I'll show you about the driving with this car from the cockpit. And you see, just because this Genesis GV80 is about luxury and city urban SUV, never underestimate the power of this gigantic Genesis GV80. Let's head out and show you the drives about this 2022 Genesis GV80 six-seater. Press down the turn signal to whichever the direction that you want to go, and then it will of course calculate and see if the conditions are met to make the lane change. The good old 7/8-seater Genesis GV80 in front of me. Despite that this is 2022 model, you see the second row has 3 seaters, the good old second row seats that we know of.